I did not even know that Ukraine started to produce a new 24-hour ration, which contains not only food for survival, but also a disposable shower, using which you can wash the entire body. We can't wait to try everything. But first, let's start with the most important element of any kit, a spoon, which we haven't found here. It was quite unexpected, but we are lucky to have this brown spoon in our backpack. We've got it from unpacking some European field rations. Before we start eating, we have to wipe our hands with a special napkin to avoid worms. Then we take out the main dish for our breakfast. Such a beautiful and colorful package containing something interesting. It turns out to be a dry breakfast with, I guess, some pieces of dried meat, which should be poured on with water. So we do that, then stir and wait 5 minutes. And get this aromatic mashed potato. And it is really tasty and super flavorful. The only disadvantage of this dish is the very small amount of meat. Dear manufacturers, please do not disgrace yourself and add a little more. Next, we find 2 packages of Ukrainian cookies. They are dense, weighty, thick and a little hard. They don't taste as good as the NATO ones, but they are plentiful. Breakfast drinks include 1 stick of this, perhaps Italian coffee. Modest, but I think that's enough. I can't see any good reason to add a huge amount of drinks that one person can't even drink. We also add a stick of sugar. And then we have this carton of condensed milk that has exactly the same design as those Soviet Union condensed milk cans. Although it seems to be a vitaminized version that contains 5 vitamins. I immediately came up with the idea to add a little more milk to the coffee, so it tastes much better. And of course, I poured the remaining part on our cookies, making a cookie sandwich like this. We spice it all up with 2 milk-flavored candies from a company, the owner of which is the former president of Ukraine. As a result, we get an almost presidential breakfast. Not just some granola, but a full dish that will satiate the soldier pretty well. For lunch, we've got a slightly larger bag, which also contains some dried food and small pieces of meat. It turns out to be mashed peas with pork. Uh-oh. Eating peas makes people produce a lot of different gases. Imagine what would happen if they were all sitting together in one tank. Anyway, it looks good and tastes just like homemade. But there's something more. We take out the second bag and pour the contents into a mug. Can't wait to see what we'll get. So we add some water and get a flavored fish broth. It actually doesn't contain any fish, and it is unlikely to satiate anyone, but it is warm and has a pleasant taste and smell of river fish. The fish was probably eaten by the manufacturer, who then sent the broth in a bag. Alright, thank you anyways. We find 2 more big bags of cookies, and right after them we find such a beautiful bag with a natural flower honey. Of course, we add it to the cookies, which makes them much tastier. After that, we take a bag of English tea and 1 stick of sugar. For some people, 1 stick of sugar may not be enough. In that case, we can take the rest of the honey and add it to our English tea. As a result, we've got a drink that tastes just perfect. I completely forgot to mention the toothpick in the set. You can pick at your mouth with it if one of the pieces of meat from the mashed potatoes gets stuck there. Lunch turned out to be quite hearty, tasty and moderately varied. After dinner, it would be nice to take a shower. And here we go to this portable field shower, for extreme conditions, also produced in Ukraine. We open the package and find 2 rags inside. One is a quite big towel for wiping the body. And the second is a thin sponge with some substance on it. No, it is not the usual soap, but something way more advanced. To use the shower, we need to put the sponge back into the package, pour 50 milliliters of water, and then start wrinkling it with our hands as shown in the video. After about 2 minutes, we notice a lot of thick foam coming from the package. We took the sponge out of the bag and decided to continue foaming in the bowl. It resulted in a lot of foam. The manufacturer assures that this volume of foam is enough to wash your entire body. For that, you just need to wipe those places of your body that you need to wash. The foam contains a lot of different elements that not only wash, but probably disinfect the skin of the soldier so that it does not suffer from bacteria and all kinds of fungi. If it's cold, you don't have to undress completely, you can wash different parts of the body one by one. Wipe them with the towel that comes with it, and then start washing the next part. I think it's a great alternative to a classic full-body shower. In fact, after this solution, the skin really feels a certain coolness and gets some freshness. Cookie wanted to try the foam too, but then I had to bathe him completely so he wouldn't lick any of that foam left on his back. The main dinner dish is packed in a mirrored bag for some reason. It seems to be something like a burger with lumps of dried sauce, herbs, and I guess some vegetables. The instructions say to pour it with hot water and wait for 15 minutes until the dish gets cooked. Meanwhile, we get another main dish, which is said to be a buckwheat soup with chicken fillet. And indeed, we see some buckwheat with spices and probably those promised pieces of fillet. Immediately after pouring the water, our room is filled with this pleasant aroma of this delicious homemade soup. Here the pieces of meat are more noticeable than in previous dishes. And then we found a surprise in the form of a bag of salted peanuts. The bag is not big, but they were in good quality and tasted pretty well. Another bag of tea in an even more beautiful nice package, which says it's alpine herbs and has beautiful flowers on it. We wanted to check whether it's true and whether the bag really contains some quality herbs and not artificially flavored dried something. We made a little cut on the bag and poured a little of the content. And indeed, there are many colorful pieces of herbs and even a small flower. We pour hot water and realize that the teas in these dry packs are really delicious. Both this herbal and the previous black one. We accompany the nuts with cookies, as we've got as many as 6 packs of them in the ration. In addition, we get this beautiful strawberry jam, which seems to contain bits of strawberries. But for some reason, there was only 1 candy left for dinner, not 2. And so the chicken soup is ready, the buckwheat and the meat pieces have absorbed the water, and the bulgur has thickened and now tastes like some kind of a homemade meal. On the whole, we were delighted by this dry food, but I would not have refused at least a small bar of chocolate or candy and an adequate amount of meat.